Hosted in conjunction with Chris Media, the CEO interview series allows investors to hear directly from the CEOs leading the companies featured on Wholesale Investor. Enjoy the interview and reach out via the details in the description.
Hi, and welcome to another Crisp TV interview. Today, I'm joined by the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Chimeric Therapeutics, Jennifer Chow. Thank you for joining me for this interview, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me, Rhythm. It's great to be here.
Amazing. Just a brief overview. Chimeric Therapeutics, ASX ticker being CHM, is a clinical stage cell therapy company focused on bringing the promise of cell therapy to life for more patients with cancer. Jennifer, could you elaborate on that further? How will the development and commercialization of cell therapy change the course of history for patients with cancer?
Absolutely, Rhythm. I actually think that cell therapies are already changing the course of history for patients with cancer. Cell therapies have actually been proven now to be curative. And so there are cell therapies that were given to patients over 10 years ago, and those patients remain cancer-free. And that is, now 10 years later, leading scientists and clinicians to say these people are cured of their cancer. And so I think for us, it's really about having those outcomes, being able to cure cancer, available to more patients. And that's really what Chimeric is all about.
Amazing. Now, I would love to talk to you about, just so the audience has a deeper understanding, what is the differentiating factor between, the standard practices that are available in the market and with the work that, you're doing with Chimeric?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes to what I was saying Rhythm, about cell therapies being curative. So when you think about drug development in oncology, what's happened over the course of the last 40, 50 years is we have definitely improved outcomes for patients. There's no doubt, right? And what we've done, though, is we've done it slowly. So generally what you'll see we're trying to stop patients from progressing. And so you'll get a new therapy and it will say, okay, compared to the old therapy, this one will give patients another 6 months before they progress, or another 4 months before they progress. And the good ones, might give people another year or two. Now, all of a sudden, instead of just talking about stopping or slowing down disease progression, we're actually talking about completely eradicating cancer. So there is a big difference, I think, between what's come before and even its objectives, which were really to slow down the progression of cancer, and what really the objective is of cell therapy, which is actually to cure cancer.
Amazing. Can you dive deeper into the cell therapy and, how is it actually going to change the course? So more into the technology aspect of it, in layman terms, if you can explain it to our audience.
I can a little bit. Happy to. I think if you think about cancer therapies over the course of the last 60, 70 years, initially we had chemotherapy.
Yes.
And chemotherapy was essentially just very toxic therapy. And the idea was you gave it to a patient, it didn't really target anything specific, but it just killed everything in its path. And chemotherapies have some efficacy for patients. Yeah. As we got better with cancer therapies, we moved into targeted therapies, where we were really looking for the specific cancer that a drug or a therapy was trying to attack. And so with targeted therapies, suddenly we were really going after a tumor, right? And we could identify the tumor and we were going after that tumor. And again, we improved outcomes for patients by doing so. And then we introduced what's called immunotherapies. And for the first time with immunotherapies, instead of going after the tumor, we were now going after the patient's immune system. And we were looking to stimulate it to have it help the patient actually fight their cancer. So with each sort of improvement in oncology therapies, we've gone from no target at all to targeting the tumor to targeting the patient. With cell therapy, what we're actually doing is we're targeting the tumor and the patient for the first time. So what we're doing with the cell therapies is we're building the cell therapies so they really go after a patient's very specific type of cancer, but we're using the patient's own cells to do it. And so we're combining this idea of targeting the tumor and targeting the patient together for the first time.
That's brilliant. Thank you for providing us with such a detailed explanation for that, Jennifer. Now, I would love to know, what's the clinical community's feedback been on the use of cell therapy for the treatment of cancer?
Yeah, it's been very exciting, right? I think it really comes First and foremost, it's come from these outcomes that we've seen with patients, where patients that were treated 10 years ago remain cancer-free, they remain in remission. And so that's caused a lot of excitement, what we've seen in outcomes. Now, the challenge has been mostly with blood cancers, or all with blood cancers. We've seen those outcomes in patients with blood cancers. And so what we're really trying to do now from a scientific community perspective is work out how do we find those cell therapies that are going to offer patients with solid tumors the same outcomes as the patients that have blood cancers. So I think lots of excitement because of the early benefit we've seen for patients. Now it's just about how do you get it to more patients and into different types of cancers.
Amazing. Well, Jennifer, for my next question, it would be great if you could share with us any updates or milestones that have been achieved in the last couple of months for people that are keeping track of the progress of Chimeric.
Yeah, Rhythm, I'm very happy to. We're very excited about what's been going on, particularly in our NK program most recently. So this week we've made an announcement that we have entered into a sponsored research collaboration with Case Western and Dr. Wald. Dr. Wald was the inventor for our NK cell program. And I think what is so exciting about that program is it's already been in a clinical trial, and the patients in that trial did quite well. And there was one patient that I think just has caught everybody's attention. It is a young woman who had acute myeloid leukemia, so quite a serious disease. She had tried all of the other standard therapies and nothing had worked. And she came onto the clinical trial with our NK cells, and she had a complete response. And when the initial outcomes for the study were published, we knew that her complete response had lasted 15 months. We've recently been made aware that her response is now out more than 2 years. And so for us, that's so exciting. If you think about, our goal is to help patients completely be rid of their cancer, to cure cancer. And we already now have this patient that is 2 years out with her cancer completely gone. So we're really excited about the milestone that came out of that study, obviously, with this patient and all the patients that did well on that trial. And it's really led us into this collaboration with Case and really looking to advance that collaboration now as quickly as possible.
Amazing. That's the most amazing thing that I've heard about, the work that you're doing, when you can actually see a case study coming to life in front of you. So that is great. Now, you touched it on a little bit, so I want to dive deeper into your team. So I would love to understand, the skills and assets that they bring to the table and the value that they provide to Chimeric.
Yeah, and you know what? That is one of the things that, I think makes us truly different. Is cell therapy is a very unique space to develop in. And we have a team, a small team, but a team that all has experience in this space. Across our team, we have over 75 years of experience. And it's not just about the experience of working on these assets from very early days, which we've all done. We've actually taken assets from the preclinical space all the way through to commercialization. So I think one of the amazing things about our team is that we really have proven that we know how to take an asset through this space, navigate it out into the market and get it to the patients that need it. So great experience and expertise on the team to do this.
Amazing. You really have a strong team backing you. That's great. Now, as a parting question, Jennifer, I love to know, and this is for the prospective investors in the audience, what does the outlook look like for the next 6 to 12 months for Chimeric?
Yeah, it's a very exciting next 6 to 12 months. I think, Rhythm, over the course of the last 12 months, we've really been putting the foundation in place. We were growing our portfolio and pipeline. We were making sure all of our assets were ready to go into clinical trials or starting to advance them. Now, over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, there'll be lots more going on in the clinical space for us. So we have 3 ongoing clinical trials now. We're going to add to that over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. Patients will continue to advance in our phase 1 studies. So lots of clinical developments, I think, to look forward to, which is always a really exciting time when you're in clinic and you actually can see how these therapies are starting to impact patients.
Yeah, amazing. Well, congratulations, Jennifer, on everything that has been achieved to date. For anyone who's interested to get in touch with Jennifer or her team, please see the details at the side of the screen and in the description. Thank you again, Jennifer, for coming on for this interview, and I wish you all the luck with your venture.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.